Hello and welcome back to another Winds of Fortune video. So, yeah, today this is an A-game guide. I'm not doing any sort of guide videos on this game, except for the lightning one that I did. Because, you see, when it comes to like getting experience and gold, they keep changing that up. Seriously, by the time I even start recording one, all my information will be outdated, so yeah, no, it's not happening for a while. Once they sort of calm down with the updates and improvements, then I will consider it. But, you know, for now, no. Anyway, you've read the titles. This is a lore dive. This game has a lot, and I mean a lot, of lore. A lot of unanswered questions. For example, where is the Treasure Isles actually located? On or outside of the world? Possibly. Possibly. What is up with the mysterious Bay of Eyes? Who were the ancient people that once roamed this great ocean? And perhaps the most pressing question of all, why does a beef patty use raw pork as an ingredient? I mean, seriously. Raw beef is an actual ingredient. I mean, come on. Would it be that difficult to change the name from beef patty to pork patty? I mean, come on. Seriously. All jokes aside, though, this game has a lot of lore. A lot of unanswered questions. And the game's so new, as they continue to work on it and add stuff, they're going to be adding more questions and more answers to old questions. However, since this is our first video exploring the topic, it's only fitting that we start off our dive into the lore with the actual story itself. And I will be analyzing, so let us analyze this book, which is found on Castaway, the island where you start. It is a small journal that gives you an intro to the entire story, authored by Sir Nathaniel Wilson. Someone who I honestly don't know if he's an NPC around here. That sounds like an NPC name, like, you know, Mr. Roland. But I have not seen an NPC named Nathaniel Wilson out there, so who knows? Such an NPC might be returning, or might appear at some point. Don't know, I'm just, you know, saying it's possible. Now, I'm going to be reading this book to you guys, and then at the end, I will be taking certain points that are definitely noteworthy, and we'll be analyzing them. Since there's too much information to go into in one video, yeah. It'll be best, you know, one thing at a time, and then just and then just start adding and changing the theory as we run into more details. An Intro to the Treasure Isles, authored by Sir Nathaniel Wilson. What a world we live in. Introduction. Where am I? This is probably a question you've already asked yourself. Where am I? Why am I here? Luckily for you, I can answer this question for you with relative ease. You found yourself in the Treasure Isles, a mysterious place that many have heard of, but few have journeyed to. Fear not, for I have written this book just for you. Your guide to the Treasure Isles is right here. Everything you may need to know in one book. The location of the Treasure Isles. The location of the Treasure Isles is a complete mystery, although some theories are very well known. For starters, there is only one way to arrive in the Treasure Isles. You must sail far enough into the Forbidden Sea, far enough that it is almost certain your ship capsizes, thanks to the power of the Eternal Storm. Each and every inhabitant of the Treasure Isles will tell you that they were not conscious to see themselves wash up on the shores of the archipelago. The last thing they remember before waking up on the shore is almost always their ship sinking. That brings us to another interesting point. Every individual that arrives in the Treasure Isles awakens on the shores of Castaway Retreat. The reasoning for this is unknown, and it is especially mysterious given the island is located in the center of the Treasure Isles. Almost all sailors that venture into the Eternal Storm sail into it from the east, so logically anyone who washes up on an island in the region would surely wash up on an island to the east, right? This miraculously is not the case. It may have something to do with the magical qualities that the Treasure Isles possess, although some people have their own ideas. Few have claimed that they have actually awoken in between them being shipwrecked in the Eternal Storm, and them awakening on the shores of Castaway Retreat, and find themselves on the decks of a cursed ship. Of course, we do have our fair share of undead in these parts. More on that later. Most accounts of the ship in particular seem to be exceptionally dreadful. As for where the Treasure Isles actually is, none have any sort of clue. A small number of sailors have sailed far away from the Treasure Isles for days, weeks, even months, and found nothing. This seems to eliminate the possibility of the Treasure Isles being beyond the Forbidden Sea, as Davis Kingsley once claimed. So where exactly are we? Even after the golden age of piracy began, and sailors of all kinds began flocking to the Treasure Isles, none have managed to come to a definitive conclusion of where the Treasure Isles is located. Many have their ideas. Some say that explorers are simply looking in the wrong places. Others say the archipelago is cursed. Some are also of the opinion that we are somehow trapped in here with no escape. We would have been met with a truly terrible fate if that were true. Chapter 2. The Undead. Every resident of the Treasure Isles knows what the undead are, the nasty infestation of terrible evil creatures that lurk on every island. They come in all shapes and sizes, ranging from human skeletons to massive cyclops creatures that shake the earth with each step. These creatures always emerge from what appears to be portals coming out of the ground. They are certainly magical in nature, but the reason for their presence is anyone's guess. The waves are not spared from the undead's grasp either, as the undead commonly manifest themselves on board old run-down ships that one could only call cursed. These ships can appear anywhere, and they always chase down the nearest ship they can find. There are also certain places in the Treasure Isles that the undead try to flood into with a massive horde. These places are commonly referred to as abyssal gates, which have a great effect on the environment around them when they appear. A massive cloud appears over the abyssal gate, raining ash down on the surrounding area. The undead arrive from beneath the ground in what seems to be infinite numbers when an abyssal gate is open. The only way to prevent them from continuing their assault is to destroy the abyssal gate itself, which can be a difficult task at times. Some believe the undead are somehow connected to the Bay of Eyes, an island far to the far northeast. Abyssal gates have been sighted there in the past, and there have also been reports of a rather mysterious undead activity going on in the region. An organization exists within the Treasure Isles that occupies itself with actively repelling the undead from the region, known as the Hunters Guild. They are stationed at their base to the north of Castaway Retreat and have many fierce warriors that attack the undead where they are reported to be seen most. They also investigate the origins of the undead. Ancient cave paintings exist throughout the Treasure Isles that exist a great many themes. The most prevalent theme among them is the undead. Thanks to these paintings, we know that the undead have been here for quite a while. Chapter 3. The Ancient Civilization. As I previously stated, there are many places in the Treasure Isles that possess paintings and scriptures from an ancient civilization. Not much is known about them, however they have left proof of their existence almost everywhere in the Treasure Isles. Many ancient structures can be found all across the archipelago, and the ruins of their capital city can even be found to the far east. It is also widely believed that they are responsible for the construction of lost ruins, the mysterious labyrinths that dot the map, and occasionally change their layout. Lost ruins seem to be vaults of some sort, protecting great treasures from being taken by just anyone. Chapter 4. In conclusion, I think it'd be rather unwise to include all my work in one single book, so I've decided to journey around the Treasure Isles and write my findings on each island. If I haven't bored you into closing these pages yet, please do take the time to search for my other works on the other islands of the Treasure Isles in the future. I will try to leave them in safe spots for you. All I ask is that you leave any of my works where you found them. I know that any reader of this text is likely a pirate, but please, do it for the sake of knowledge. And that is what this journal says. If that doesn't scream lore and unanswered questions, I don't know what does. Yeah, so... yeah. While I was reading, I was also taking notes on a Word document. So, let's go take a look at what I've got, shall we? Here we are on the Word document, pretty much all the major points from the introduction. Feel free to pause and read them. This is the first half of the first page, second half of the first page, first half of the second page, and then second half of that page. Now, what kind of a theory can we put together with all of this? Honestly, this line right here definitely sticks out to me. Those who awoke between sinking in the eternal storm and waking up on Castaway remember waking up on the deck of a cursed ship. Now, the cursed ships are interesting because if it's talking about the very same cursed ships that attack nearby ships, those ships are in the game today. Those ships only appear to attack enemy players. Which means the rest of the time they spend underwater. Which means if you wake up on a cursed ship, you're waking up on a ship traveling underwater. Also, your ship sinks. That kind of reminds me of something. In the days of sailing ships, legends were told of the Flying Dutchman, a cursed ship which ferries the souls of the dead to the other side. And the model for the ghost ships kind of looks like the Pirates of the Caribbean Flying Dutchman. I may just be reading too much into it, but honestly, it could be that everyone who sinks their ship in the eternal storm ends up dead. They're dead, and so the ghost ships, the cursed ships, sail them to the Treasure Isles. So that might mean that everyone on the Treasure Isles is dead. There are some holes in this theory. Why the undead would then attack those players which they brought. If it is the same cursed ship, if the cursed ship that brings sailors to the Treasure Isles is the same cursed ship that attacks, the ships that they find, why would they do it? Why not just kill them? So yeah, there are definitely some holes with this theory. There is something notable about the Abyssal Gates. Another thing I'd like to mention is that the Abyssal Gates, they are called Abyssal Gates. The only reason I could think of to call them this is that they are gates to a realm called the Abyss. Since basically that is a realm of the undead, this abyss may just be the afterlife. I would like to note that the cursed ship always rises from the water, similar to the Flying Dutchman in Pirates of the Caribbean. So there may be some connection. Whether this is literally just for looks or there is some lore connection, we don't know. But honestly, that would... So yeah, these two should definitely go together. And the whole thing on the Bay of Eyes. The Bay of Eyes is believed to have something to do with the undead, as Abyssal Gates have been sighted there and there are reports of mysterious undead activity in the area. This is very interesting, as in the game, there are Abyssal Gates, however they only spawn on Pointed Rock. Even though the Bay of Eyes exists there, and Abyssal Gates exist, no Abyssal Gates currently spawn. There are two other places that Abyssal Gates can spawn. One is currently in the game, and another has been removed because of level cap. Alright? One place is Pointed Rock, and that is the one that is currently in the game. The other place is Empyrean Isle. Empyrean Isle was an island that was removed with the open beta since, you know, well, since its level was like in the 90s, and well, the level cap right now is 50. Yeah, in the closed beta, it was level 100 was the level cap. But yeah, no abyssal gates spawn on the Bay of Eyes despite being specifically called out and mentioned to have abyssal gates. Okay, so there is another point I'd like to make. When abyssal gates spawn in, the server states in the chat, undead are marching into the living world. Okay? The term marching isn't usually associated with like mindless hordes of undead, but with armies. And when there is armies, there has got to be a leader giving orders to that army. So that can imply that there is something in the abyss that is trying to invade the living world. Also, the fact that it says living world can actually kind of ruins the whole thought of, you know, of the Treasure Isles actually being the afterlife as I had believed previously. And after doing some thinking, I think after, examining the information here, I think I might have some sort of something. I have something. So yeah, it's living world. So those who are on the ghost ship, alright, they're brought into Castaway aboard the ghost ship, which is similar to the Flying Dutchman, a ship which ferries the souls of the dead to the other side. What I'm thinking is maybe the Treasure Isles isn't the afterlife itself. The Abyss is this afterlife. But what if the Treasure Isles is between Earth and the Abyss? Because, like, it's obviously no one knows where it is. Alright? It does not exist beyond the Forbidden Sea, so nobody knows where the true location is. And if you look at the sun, it's got these rings around it, which is not around the sun on Earth, okay? The sun, the sun in the sky looks different from the sun in our world. So if the player really arrives there from Earth, it's obvious he's not even on Earth anymore. So he's in a different realm. So it could be a realm between the living world and the abyss. And that might explain why. I mean, I suppose our Flying Dutchman idea could fit with this, as, maybe your ship sinks in this storm, in the eternal storm, and then the cursed ship carries you. However, if you're still alive, you aren't able to enter this afterlife, so instead you go into some sort of realm between it, a living realm that isn't exactly the world you were at before. Sort of maybe a pit stop. So my theory is this. The cursed ships go to Earth, go from the Abyss to Earth to collect the souls of the dead. They bring them back to the Abyss to add to the undead army. However, if you're still alive aboard the ghost ship, you may not be able to enter the Abyss because you're not dead, so you can't be undead. So instead, you get thrown off in the Treasure Isles. That would explain why the ghost ship that brings you to the Treasure Isles attacks you later. It'll rise out of the water to attack you. So yeah, and if the Treasure Isles is a realm between the Abyss and Earth, it could be that the Abyss is trying to take over the Treasure Isles with undead armies and then move on to the living world after taking the Treasure Isles. And we are there to stop them. I don't know. That's just what I'm thinking as a direction this could possibly go. I guess you could call it more of a hunch. But I mean, I guess that's just my theory on this, my personal theory. I have seen other theories, which I do need to look into and we can examine in later videos. So here we are with our theory, the first theory of this series. Treasure Isles exist as a realm between Earth and the Abyss as a barrier to stop direct abyssal invasions of Earth. A cursed ship carries souls from shipwrecks within the Eternal Storm and brings them to the Abyss. Those who survive the shipwreck somehow get left within the Treasure Isles and become the actual player character, the avatar that we play as. So yeah, I suppose that's good enough. I kind of am out of time for today to get out of my frame. Give me your meat. Now, as I was saying before that pig so rudely interrupted me, I'm kind of out of time to really delve into lore and stuff today. So yeah, well, I hope you guys enjoy like lore dives as much as I do. I mean, I'm like a fan of MatPat, his multiple channels, and yeah, so I figured I'd get my hands on this before he did, and yeah. Already we're dealing with dead people, and that's sort of a normal for him. Anyway, I'm also trying to become a Winds of Fortune creator, the Discord community, because that could really help out my channel, and so you guys hitting the subscribe button will definitely help with that. Like, closer we get to 1,000, the more likely it is to happen. So if you do that, if you hit subscribe, I will greatly appreciate it. And next week is probably going to be Block City Wars. Anyway, I believe that is everything. So with that, me mateys, sayonara.